It is my absolute pleasure to begin to introduce our next session. And it's a session that's very close to my heart. When I started my firm, Bold Bison, because I'm Brandon Hayes from Bold Bison Communications and Consulting, in 2019, the very first project I got to work on was helping Brushwood Center think about the At Ease program that you're about to learn about, and think about, what the future of the program might be. It was a huge honor to get to help Brushwood think that through, and a gigantic honor to learn about the program. And as part of that, I got to introduce Veronica Hinke and Catherine Game to each other, which helped to lead to this amazing partnership you're about to hear about. So now it is my absolute thrill and pleasure to introduce Jessica Klinge and Catherine Game from Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods, and Veronica Hinke from USDA Forest Service Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie. And we'll start this morning with Catherine.
Thank you, Brandon. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Good morning, everybody. It's so wonderful to be with you all virtually. At least it's a sunny, nice day. I remember Wild Things where it's like a blizzard outside, and so it's a bit ironic that we get such great weather when we're virtual. But hey, we can take breaks and go outside today. So I'm Catherine Game. I'm the executive director of Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods, and we're just really excited to be here. Thanks, Brandon, so much for hosting us and helping to facilitate all of these wonderful presentations. So while we're not in person today, we do still want to acknowledge that we're all tuning into this program on stolen land. Brushwood Center recognizes Ryerson Woods and the broader Chicagoland area as the traditional home of the Council of Three Fires, the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes such as the Ho-Chunk, Miami, Menominee, Sauk, and Meskwaki also called this area home. We celebrate their traditions and culture and their immemorial ties to this land. We honor the multicultural traditions of the land, the history of Native peoples, and those who continue to maintain and shape these traditions today. So land acknowledgement statements like this are designed to bring more awareness and understanding to the history of Indigenous peoples and their territories, but also to be a call for us to rethink our relationship with the environment and the histories of all peoples, and to challenge the legacies of settler colonialism in our society. So today, Brushwood Center continues to be a place where many people from diverse backgrounds find healing, vitality, and relationship with nature. And we're going to talk about one of those opportunities and programs in this presentation. But our mission is really to promote the importance of nature for cultivating creativity, for nurturing well-being, and inspiring learning, and ultimately to champion a region where people will care about and for nature, like all of the wonderful people listening to this presentation. So we do that by facilitating cultural, arts, and educational programs that deepen people's relationship with the natural world. And our programs and our work are really targeting two problems. One is the unhealthy state of nature in our region, which you all are very familiar with, where we see increasing threats like invasive species, climate change, and pollution decrease the quality of our ecosystems. This image is the Waukegan coal plant, which is just a few miles north of Brushwood Center, and really, gives the entire Lake County a very poor air quality rating, along with other industry. Related, very closely related, is the issue of people's health, especially the increasing rate of chronic diseases and behavioral health issues, and this year, COVID-19, which disproportionately impact many of our region's people communities, and including military veterans. And so that's what the At Ease program is all about. There's no question that our communities need to increase support for veterans' mental health, especially in the midst of the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, veteran suicide rates are 50% higher than that of non-veteran residents. And women veterans are particularly at risk, with more than 40% reporting military sexual harassment or trauma. Veterans also face disproportionately higher rates of alcohol and drug abuse, depression, and just other challenges reintegrating into society, especially for combat veterans, but many military veterans broadly too. So the good news is that research and more research every day shows that nature and the arts are powerful coping tools for these issues. And so this image is from Ming Kuo, but this shows the ways that the different mechanisms through which spending time in nature can address both physiological and psychological issues that people experience. And emerging research from the COVID-19 time period really demonstrates the critical importance of access to nature, of social connection in that way, and of the creative arts for people's mental and physical well-being. How many of us have found both solace and sanity outdoors in the last several months? So I think so many of us can relate to that. So Brushwood's programs are really based on this belief that we can only heal the planet by also participating in the healing of our communities. And no year has that become more apparent than this year. So we also recognize the intersectionality of the environment with many other societal issues around well-being and justice. Thus, solving the health of people and the planet means intersecting across various sectors and partnerships towards equity and justice. And so we're really leaning into this framework through our research-based theory of change, which recognizes the critical role of nature in improving mental and physical health, alongside the arts as tools to inspire care for our human and ecological communities, as well as providing many health benefits. Which takes me to our At Ease program for military veterans, which provides free art and nature programs in partnership with the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Healthcare Center in North Chicago, and also with veterans organizations in Lake County and Cook County as well, for more than 250 veteran participants annually. This year, we were so excited to expand the partnership with Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie as a part of our broader COVID-19 response. And so the At Ease program, it really focuses on empowering military veterans' well-being using the two therapeutic modalities of nature and the arts as coping mechanisms for stress, anxiety, PTSD, social isolation, and other adverse mental health outcomes. In total, we served 269 veterans last year with really powerful data about the impact of this program on mental health, on reducing stress, and even increasing self-confidence. This year, we also heard time and time again the importance of these opportunities for combating social isolation, particularly really early on in the pandemic when we were in the lockdown period. So we're going to dive into this amazing partnership that we were able to facilitate with Midewin. And before I turn it over to Veronica to speak more about that, we wanted to share this beautiful video, which was produced by Bold Bison, that really captures some of the stories and experiences of veterans on the prairie.
The USDA Forest Service and Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods are working together to encourage U.S. military veterans and their families to connect with nature. The At Ease Nature Platoon at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie provides opportunities for veterans to benefit physically, mentally, and culturally. Participants and instructors say they have realized unanticipated rewards.
Like when I joined the military, I didn't join to be of service to others. When I joined the 12-step program, I didn't join to be of service to others. Then you find out it's all about being of service to others. And that's the real reward. I get more reward doing this than I do a lot of jobs. Just seeing the smile, just knowing you touched somebody, and hopefully they were touched.
Through their photographs of grassland birds, pollinator plants, sunrises, and more, people everywhere can experience Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie.
Brushwood Center's Addie's program for veterans empowers military veteran well-being through the power of art and nature. We create a therapeutic environment for veterans who are recovering from the after effects of combat or of service.
So with PTSD, it can involve chronic pain. Sometimes it's just knowing what's called triggers, knowing what they are, and then once you can identify them, then you can basically use coping skills or certain tools that you've learned to minimize those symptoms.
Staff members with Brushwood Center work with more than 200 artists and authors each year to engage students, families, veterans, and seniors across all backgrounds. Brushwood Center started the At Ease program for veterans in 2014. An arts and cultural center nestled in a nature oasis in Lake County, Illinois, Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods is the only organization in the greater Chicago region whose mission leverages the power of the arts and nature for human and ecological well-being.
What attracted me to the At Ease program was that it was veteran oriented, and this particular program was photography oriented, and it's probably one of my biggest hobbies.
In summer 2020, Brushwood Center and the USDA Forest Service worked together to introduce At Ease Nature Platoon at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie. The project combines online photography workshops for veterans and their families with self-guided tours of Midewin. Participants receive support bags and are invited to borrow cameras from Brushwood Center if they don't have their own equipment. Their photos will be featured nationally through USDA Forest Service social media, in a 2021 date planner, and in a Veterans Day exhibition hosted virtually by the USDA Forest Service and Brushwood Center. The photographs were curated for display at the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Healthcare Center in Lake County.
We would be hiking and walking along and see a yellow finch, just the number of honeybees, or see a hummingbird, which we never would have noticed before.
He became a really avid bicyclist, and so that took him all over, and he really loved that time being on the bike alone, but being outside, he loved that. So I think, as Harold said, it's a nice way to remember both my dad as a veteran and as somebody who loved being outside.
Located in Will County, Illinois, Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie is the largest open space area in the Chicago region. Before being established in 1996 as the nation's first national tallgrass prairie, it was the Joliet Army ammunition plant. Now stretching across almost 19,000 acres, Midewin is managed by the USDA Forest Service and is home to a herd of bison and an array of grassland species.
And something also I like about this program is helping both, people and also making more people aware of nature.
Whether it be the protection of the people in the case of the Marine Corps, or the protection of the land, the enjoyment and the use and management of the land that we have within the USDA Forest Service. It's also a great opportunity, as close as we are to Chicago and other nearby metropolitan areas, to give people a place to go and see what would have been at one time.
It's year-round glory, and it's just a beautiful, picturesque place to take photographs, or just to come out and sit and be at ease.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Veronica Hinke. I'm the Public Affairs Officer and Public Services Team Leader at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie. And boy, how wonderful it was to see those refreshing scenes of Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie in the peak of its glory during summertime. I loved seeing all those wonderful photos and footage, and it was just great working on that project with Brandon, Catherine, Jessica, Joe, and more. Thank you for working with us on this project, and partnerships are very key to the USDA Forest Service. And in this instance, we were able to not only establish a new partnership locally, but we were able to work on the community level here in the Chicago area with an organization, Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods, in an organization that has a national partnership and working arrangement with the USDA Forest Service. And I'll get to that in a little bit. This is a picture of a June bird survey taken by Allison Cisneros with the Nature Conservancy. Wanted to start with this to give you the idea of what a perfect place this was for engaging veterans, with helping to find a way for veterans to connect with nature. You can see people come out and bird watch, and wow, what an amazing way to see the prairie through going out and taking photographs. We had a lot of reasons why we did this, the big why. There are 7 points that I wanted to go over with you all today. Many of us are communicators. We're trying to find new ways to engage and to help people connect with nature. Whatever your situation is where you work, hoping that some of these might inspire you in the situation in which you are in. We wanted to connect people to the prairie, provide new ways of showing support to U.S. military veterans. Midewin is situated on land where the Joliet area ammunition plant was located and active during World War II and more. And part of that land is also now where the Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery is. So lots of ties there with veterans, and it just seemed like a wonderful fit for us to work with Brushwood Center on this project. We have many longtime volunteers with Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie who have photo skills and experience and on the trails learning about Midewin and knowing more than most people know about Midewin. And this was an opportunity for us to apply those skills. It was a new way of hearing visitor experiences and capturing those so we could share with others. It also provided a new context for telling stories through some of the things that I'll talk about in the following slides. It encouraged new approaches to independent experiences. Some of the challenges that we faced in the last 12 months, the partnership with Brushwood Center and trying to find new ways to help people engage with nature, have really set a toolkit for moving forward with ways to engage people in the future in independent experiences. And last but not least, and again, I'll explain this in greater detail in a minute, at the local level, we were able to work with a really amazing partner, and that has immeasurable benefits to everyone. So starting with this first point about connecting people to the prairie. So in many ways, we were able to connect new people to the prairie, right? But in this case, with Brandon here, who you've seen through the last 2 weekends so much, and he's been amazing with all the prep work and all the behind the scenes. It's incredible. We were able to work with him on the video that you just saw. And in doing so, who had worked with Brandon for many years in another capacity, seeing him on the prairie and other capacities, I was able to see him organizing a video project. So this partnership was beneficial in ways such as that. We were able to provide veterans some form of special attention in connecting them with nature. This picture is of an American bullfrog. It was taken by Chip Miller, who's a U.S. Air Force veteran. And we were able to take pictures like Chip took, and I'll show you a picture in a few minutes of a picture that his wife took. This program is open to military veterans and their families. So we were able to get a lot of really amazing pictures like the bullfrog I just showed you. We were able to honor veterans on Veterans Day. It was so wonderful. One of my happiest memories from 2020 of U.S. Navy veteran Angela Walker singing "America the Beautiful" and "God Bless America," where she sang about the prairies of all things, which was really neat. But was so cool. It was neat to hear the participants. They went round robin telling about their experience at the prairie. We were able to apply skills and knowledge of people like Greg Dubois, Ron Kapala, and more. People who had been, Ryan Smith, who had come out to cover the Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie for Chicago Magazine. These folks were instrumental in instruction in basic photography information and about Midewin. What might you see there? Greg is on the board of the Will County Audubon Society, and he's just got wonderful Midewin experience. And so it was really neat to be able to see that applied, and also for veterans to be able to learn from that. It was a whole new way of hearing their experiences. You know, so often we don't have an opportunity to find out what someone's day was like after they were at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie hiking on the over 30 miles of non-motorized trails. But through things like the Veterans Day program, we were able to capture quotes, anecdotes, photographs like this beautiful helianthus photo that you see here on the left by Tammy Miller. That's Chip's wife. And she said during the Veterans Day program, around every corner, there was something new and wonderful to discover. Trails were smooth and flat, no hills. So of course, we love to hear those positive comments, and what a wonderful way, what a context to put them in through the experience of a family member of a U.S. military veteran. Harold Bratzloff took this picture of a garter snake on the Group 63 trail. I've never seen any snakes at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie, but photos like these, I believe they're there. They're not a common sighting. Harold is the grandson of a World War II U.S. Army Air Corps veteran. So an example here of where, a family member of a U.S. military veteran was able to participate in the program, and in doing so, had a really exciting experience. Harold said that he had gotten there early in the morning to see the sunrise. The sunrises are gorgeous, and the sunsets are just as beautiful, I have to say. Every single day, it seems like that I'm there. Right by the bunkers, I saw him. I suppose he was sunning himself. So it was just really neat to get those reflections from people and to be able to share those on Facebook and Twitter. This program, our partnership with Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods, allowed us to provide a new context for telling the story, sharing those anecdotes and photos in a date planner. This is a photo of Greg Dubois riding on the Henslow Trail on his bike. And Ed Ross, a U.S. Navy veteran who is a friend of Greg's, took this photograph. And you can see here where it's the August photo. This date planner was special in many ways. One was that we tried to capture as many dates in natural resources and conservation as we could for people like all of us that love the Wild Things Conference and lovers of conservation and natural resources to be able to stay organized with those special dates. Like coming up this week, Wednesday, is World Wildlife Day. So it highlights things like that. The video that you just saw, there's Brandon on the left, on the right is Joe Wheeler, Midewin archaeologist and tribal liaison, and he will be presenting today at 4 p.m. with Michelle Purian, the botanist at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie. They're going to tell a really amazing story about Eliza Steele, a pioneer woman who traveled through the Joliet and Chicago area in 1840. And all we really know of what might have been in the prairie in 1840 is truly from her journal. And so you'll hear more about that at 4 p.m. if you can tune in and find out about some of the plants that she talked about in her journal. She was so enthusiastic about what she saw that she recorded it in her journal. Joe here is standing in the River Road seed beds. There are 3 seed beds at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie because we are producing a lot of the seed that we plant to try to restore the prairie. Here is Michael Cardis. You heard him in the video earlier. I wanted to share this photo of you. It's one of my favorites from the program last year in 2020. We're hoping to have the same kind of photos this coming year and same kind of experiences in 2021. Michael this photo of Michael really shows you how this looked. We were able to get veterans like him, who's also an instructor in the program, out into the prairie with their cameras. And what a great way to experience nature. And we were able to share that with others through a Flickr photo album, through the National USDA Forest Service account, and more. Scenes like this, these large group gatherings we've had in the past at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie, unfortunately, last year we were not able to gather in groups. So we were encouraged to find new ways to engage with people and to help people experience nature. So this was a challenge that proved to be something that was really beneficial. We found some really special ways. We started to focus last year on some of these key phrases: doing your part, recreating responsibly, avoiding the prairie, actually asking people to avoid the prairie if they're feeling sick or experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. We were encouraging people to avoid an area if it was crowded, like the photo here that has the X in it, and to look for less crowded areas. And we also reminded people to keep a 6-foot distance. That is continuing. That's why I'm sharing this slide, because we are still focused on these key messages: avoiding close contact, with the owl, pack it in, pack it out. And the whole challenge really presented a great opportunity, because when we could have said we aren't going to be able to do this project the way we had planned, or we aren't going to be able to do this project at all, we found a new way. And Jessica here in this last slide is pictured here in the last slide. We found a new way to do the project, to complete the project with independent visits. We had virtual online instruction. There were go kits provided to each participant with trail maps. Jessica's going to talk about that in a minute. And we were able to encourage people to go out and experience Midewin through the story, which used to be OnSell, the online self-guided tours that are just a screen tap away on your smartphone or mobile device, and also through the myriad of other online resources, the booklets that the Midewin Interpretive Association provided, hard copies for the Go Kit, and also those are available online. We really focused on these new ways of getting people out when we weren't able to have a bus tour or vans or a car caravan. And I guess we really were all very happy about the way things turned out, that it was a very successful program, an introduction to a program that we hope will continue for many years. This last slide of mine here, I'm going to turn this over to Jessica in a minute. This is a point I wanted to drive home about how amazing it was to really the most important thing is the partnership that this furthered, and relationships that were created. I just got to meet Jessica last year, and it's all about the people and the people you meet along the way. So the benefits of working with Brushwood Center at Ryerson Woods has been immeasurable. So I'm going to turn this over to Jessica now.
All right, hello everyone. So I'm the program specialist of Brushwood. So this is essentially an overview of everything Veronica was just speaking about, the overview of the program that Brushwood did with Midewin. And what we're hoping to do is expand it to other organizations this year, which I'll be talking about in a second. But essentially, we start off with the virtual photography classes. We start off that in August. And then we encourage participants to go out and to have their own self-guided tours. And when Veronica was speaking about the gift bags, it's pictured here, we would give participants wildlife information, trail maps, and Midewin was gracious enough to give us water bottles, hats there. So, to kind of encourage participants to go. So, and then once they took the pictures, we put them in a calendar that the National Forest Service put out. And so all of our participants, they were able to have photos featured there. And then on Veterans Day, we had a virtual photography reception where we showed the participants' photos, and they also got to speak their own words about their experiences at Midewin. So what we're hoping to do, next slide, is this year really expand upon it. So we started that example off of Midewin, and now we're branching out to other organizations like County Forest Preserve, Cook County Forest Preserve, Chicago Park District, Indiana Dunes, and really what we want to do this year is replicate our success with Midewin and make it even better. So what we were speaking about before is this year we're focusing on our photography series on birding. So if there are veterans out there, veterans family members, I'll put up my email in the chat. We will be making our registration be going live next Tuesday. And so what we're going to be starting off is similar how we did with Midewin, the virtual photography and birding classes from March 20th to April 24th. And then we'll be encouraging participants to do a self-guided tour. Now we do have some partners that we may be able to do group tours in the summertime because each partner has their own policies about in-person tours. But regardless, we will be encouraging individuals to get out there and go themselves if we can't do a group tour with that partner organization. And so this year, we're also hoping that it'll be more, even more participants because we're lengthening the timeline. Last year, we started off in August, and this year we'll be starting off March 20th with the virtual classes. And so that'll give participants even more time to get out there to all these different sites. We're not requiring them to go to any specific sites, but we're encouraging them to go to all these different sites. Because one issue is what we found last year is some people do have transportation issues. So it is also good to promote natural areas to them locally so they don't have a hard time getting to them as well. And we are expanding our partnerships, reaching out to even more veteran organizations. We really want to focus on post 9/11 veterans, women veterans, veterans of color, and senior citizen veterans to make sure that we're inclusive in our programming. So we're really focusing on that this year as well. Next slide. So this year we'll also be having action days. Some of it will be part of our Smith Symposium, but essentially what we'll be doing is encouraging stewardship, veterans to conduct stewardship with different partner organizations. Last year, we started a partnership with the Shedd Aquarium. They have stewardship days called Kayak for Conservation, where they encourage stewardship out on the Chicago River, and we'll be doing that again this year. So if you're interested in that, if you want to get out there and kayak, it'll be a free program. Definitely let me know. We also partnering with different gardening organizations, Growing Healthy Veterans, and also different gardens on the south side of Chicago to do garden action days as well. So if you're an organization and you need help with stewardship or some kind of volunteerism, definitely let us know. We're looking to connect with partners to have additional action days. Next slide. So that's my information and also Catherine's information. So we hope to work with you, and I'll put my email in the chat. Definitely if you're a veteran or a veteran family member, let us know if you're interested in the birding program. But also if you're interested in action days, definitely let us know. Or if you're an organization and you need help with stewardship, let us know. Next slide. So let us know if there's any questions.
Thank you, Jessica, Catherine, and Veronica. Such an amazing program and so much enthusiasm, in the chat from folks about this program. So I would encourage you to ask questions. We have about 20 minutes for questions, with this session, which is fantastic. We wanted to have a nice conversation. While we're waiting for folks to begin to get their questions in there, one I didn't want to miss that came up from earlier, we've heard a lot at Wild Things about the iNaturalist app, and there was some wondering about whether, there could be an introduction to some of the veteran participants to the iNaturalist app to record some of their observations while they're out taking photos at Midewin. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, definitely, Brandon. iNaturalist was the focus of our National Public Lands Day program, which was last September and will be again this coming September. September 25th is this year's National Public Lands Day. The iNaturalist app is available through your smartphone, and you can go onto the app, and there is speaking specifically to Midewin right now, it's a library of photos and information where you can add your photo and share it with others. And you can identify plants and birds and so forth and share your nature experience with others. The reason it's such a useful app is because it is something that can be shared with people from all across the United States. And as you know, prairie isn't everywhere. You know, Florida has its Everglades, and here in the area in Chicago, we have our prairies. And so it's really neat to be able to share in that way. Everyone has access to the iNaturalist app. And you know, can see that information, and it's also helpful for people that are going out to experience the prairie on their own. They can see things that they can look for, and it's a wonderful tool, especially with an independent visit.
You're muted, Jessica.
I'm sorry. I'll just add to that really quickly and say that teaching veterans about iNaturalist will be part of our birding program. So we'll be starting March 20th. We'll start off with intro to photography. The next week will be intermediate photography, and then we'll be going into the birding phase. And so we'll be teaching veterans about iNaturalist, eBird, Merlin, and I think there's another app we're also going to be focusing on. So it'll be a total of 5 classes. The first 2 will be about photography, and the last 3 will be about birding. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in that, like I said, we can send you out the registration link when we have it next Tuesday.
Thank you. Marianne writes, thanks for all the good info. Are there specific sites in the Cook County Forest Preserves that you're targeting to work in?
We're actually meeting with Cook County next Tuesday to discuss it in more detail. We have looked at a few sites like Sandridge Nature Center, but we'll be meeting with them next week to actually discuss like if there's any specific sites that we want to promote with them. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, you know, just broadly for anyone who's listened to this presentation and is interested, I mean, a couple of folks have mentioned in the chat, we are always looking for new partners to promote this program with. There's veterans all over the state of Illinois, so the more opportunities that there are for a partnership, the better. If you all are stewards, or if you have connections with organizations that are land management groups, you know, we're really interested in having those discussions and really just getting more folks knowing about these places and the opportunity for healing in these spaces too.
There's been a lot of enthusiasm in the chat for the Addies program, for Midewin, for Brushwood. A lot of love out there, and a lot of questions about how people can get involved. And I know that in the presentation you talked a bit about that and shared some links. But sort of generally, what are some of the best ways for people to get involved with Addies, to get involved with programs and activities at Midewin, and to get involved with Brushwood Center? Why don't we take Addies first, then Midewin, then Brushwood?
I would say, one of the best ways to hit Brushwood and Addies is to sign up for our e-newsletter, because we always promote our veterans programs and our upcoming programs in that way. We also, Jessica shared the website for Addies, and we can put that in the chat too, where we have a list of current programs, upcoming programs. As she said, we have some kind of programs focused more for family members, active duty and veterans. Then we also have some specifically for women veterans. in addition, we work with the residents and outpatients at the Level Center. So we're kind of working with a range of different sub-demographics within the veterans community. And but the newsletter is a great way, a great first step. Also, Jessica manages a Facebook group called Nature Platoon, which is for veterans who are passionate about nature in the Chicago region. So you can look that up on Facebook. Jessica, maybe you could put that link in the chat too, or I can put that in. But we encourage any veteran family members to join the Nature Platoon Facebook group as well. Jessica, is there anything you'd add?
Yeah, that's actually what I was looking to get. So I put the Nature Platoon Facebook group right there. That's definitely one way. And I'll also put, after I get done speaking, I'll put in our website link, and also, you can definitely feel free to sign up our newsletter. That's definitely ways to do it. So look at our website, newsletter, and our Facebook group, and then you'll definitely know about our upcoming events.
Wonderful. Now I'd like to turn it over to Veronica to talk about how people can volunteer and get involved at Midewin. And also, before I stop talking, since I asked the question, Kathy Garness, for instance, who is a talented and sought-after botanical illustrator, she writes that she would be happy to do a weekend drawing workshop at Midewin or something like that. So how can people get involved at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie?
Oh, that sounds so wonderful. I just love the idea of interpreting the prairie and bringing art and nature together, and people experiencing nature through art. And this really, truly, this project with photography and bird watching is part of that. Getting involved at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie, we are so excited about 2 new tours on our self-guided tour app. It's now called Story with a Q instead of an O. It was on sale. And the reason we're excited is about the stories that are told through these independent tours. One is a tour where you can walk in the footsteps of Eliza Steele, the 1840s pioneer that I told you about. And one of the reasons I highlighted that in the presentation earlier is because that's something we're super excited that people can experience. And also the seed beds is the other new tour. The seed beds are pretty special, that really they are a visual. They really are a great way of showing people and for people to experience them, to know a little bit more about what goes into all the restoration that's happening at Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie. We're working with over 275 different species of native Illinois prairie plants. And the links to those are all on our website. There is a spotlight on the homepage of our website, and you can just put in Midewin in a Google search, and the website will pop up. The URL is a little bit longer than what you might be able to remember offhand. So through the website, you can find those things. If you're interested in volunteering, please send me an email and I will connect you with the volunteer coordinator. We have an amazing partnership. The USDA Forest Service has an amazing partnership with the Nature Conservancy, who I know a lot of you all know. The Nature Conservancy here in Illinois and nationally, and Allison Cisneros is the Midewin project manager. She's actually, she works right embedded with us, with Catherine Gorman, and they are the people that I can get you in touch with if you're interested in volunteering. I will tell you that things, have not been the same for about the past year, as we've been trying to do our part in encouraging people to recreate and also volunteer responsibly. So we don't have currently that opportunity that has been there historically. But get in touch with us anyway, because hopefully that will change in the future and we can start connecting volunteers with the prairie again real soon.
a question rose up about partnering with other VAs and other sites for veterans resources throughout the region. And I know that was part of our conversations and thinking and assessment for at ease. And to reference sort of what Veronica was just referring to, this time of COVID has been interesting in terms of new partnerships. But I know there's some great stuff on the horizon. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, Catherine?
Yeah, definitely. So primarily our partnership has been with the Level Center. Someone asked about Hines. We've done some programs with Hines, none since COVID. It's, the hospitals have been under tremendous pressure, obviously, first with COVID and now with COVID and vaccination distribution. But with Level, because we already had a strong program and relationship there, we've been able to convert some of the lessons and programs into telehealth formats, but really offering most of this program with Midewin to outpatients, and then more broadly to the veterans community as well, because not all veterans get their care through the VA system, and so it's good to have multiple other touch points. There's so many veteran organizations in the Chicago region, though. It's really wonderful. So there's a lot of different networks to tap, in addition to the VAs. And Jessica, I wonder, do you want to just speak to a few of those?
Yeah, additional partnerships.
Yeah, like veteran groups specifically, like Kids Rank and Thresholds.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, of course, what we want to do even more this year is to expand to many different organizations. We want to encourage to get more post 9/11 veterans into our programming through reaching out to universities. We're a grantee of the McCormick Foundation, and they work with a lot of different veteran organizations. And through them, we're definitely getting connected to even more veteran organizations. So yeah, connecting to more universities and getting veterans there. More mental health organizations like the Road Home program at Rush Hospital, and then just organizations like Kids Rank, who focus on military and family, and then working with children of military veterans. Really, and those are some of the groups that we reach out to, because not only do we do the birding and photography program that we discussed today, we also do nature-based art programming. And if you're a woman veteran, we have Women Veterans Art Class monthly, the last Friday of every month. So we've been working with women veterans doing that. We're building up our military and family programming, either with Kayak for Conservation and other art programming. So yeah, really many different organizations we reach out to, and we're always looking for new partners. So if you're interested, yeah, definitely let us know.
I would be remiss this morning during this Q&A if not to take the opportunity to ask Veronica about sort of the celebration and the meaning of a quarter century of Midewin, as Midewin marks this milestone in its 25 years of existence. Veronica, would you like to say a few words about that?
Yeah, Brandon, thank you for the opportunity to say a few things. And Jane McComber-Grillo, I see your comment there, and others I'm sure that I don't see in the chat box that are saying congrats on the Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie 25th anniversary. I almost slipped and said ours, but it's yours. This is your public land, and that's why this anniversary is so special. It was on February 10th, 1996 that the Illinois Land Conservation Act was signed, and that established Midewin National Tallgrass Prairie as at that point it was America's first tallgrass prairie, and that's one of the reasons it's a very special place. We've been producing content that we want to share with people so that they can be part of this celebration. Thank you to Joe Wheeler for adding the comments and the information in the chat box here this morning. You'll hear Joe again at 4 o'clock today. I hope some of you can tune in for his Eliza Steele program with Michelle Pirion. But I want to mention Joe because he's been hosting a series of panel discussions that started on January 5th, National Bird Day. And one of the big purposes of Midewin is to help establish and build more habitat for grassland birds. At one point in the state of Illinois, the prairie state, there was, prairie everywhere you looked. Now there's 0.01% of that prairie that remains, and we're trying to bring that back. It's a special place because just a lot of heartstrings involved. Our next program, where you can become a part of that, if you haven't already, is this coming Wednesday. It is World Wildlife Day, like I mentioned during my slide presentation. It's March 3rd at 6 p.m. The information is on Facebook and on our website about a panel discussion that we will have, that Joe will moderate, talking about all the different things that have gone into prairie restoration in the last 25 years, which include things like invasive species management and growing more seed. We just wrapped up National Invasive Species Management Awareness Week, as many of you know. And so we're really trying to further that information to the public and to those of you who already know so much about that, and also to some of your friends and folks that don't know about all the different components, the aspects that go into prairie restoration. So our programs will continue through the year. We're really excited about a program on April 30th, Arbor Day, when we'll be planting prairie trees, which are the trees we'll be planting are bur oak trees. And we'll be having a virtual program for that on Arbor Day, April 30th. So lots going on. We're appreciative to the National Forest Foundation for hosting a virtual program on the actual birthday, February 10th. They showed a video that Bill Curtis produced and actually donated, showcasing and explaining the importance of restoring the prairie, which is available now on YouTube through the National Forest Foundation. So sorry if I carried on there. It's a lot of exciting things happening, and I wanted to share as much as I could. Thanks for asking, Brandon.
You're welcome, Veronica. And thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Veronica, for being with us this morning and sharing a very special program. As I said in the introduction, it's very near and dear to my heart. It's been a great honor to be involved in just a little bit in helping to tell the story of Addie's this last year, which is really sort of, I think, the best of sort of the collaboration and interconnection between, agencies and public lands and veteran support and not-for-profits and arts, that is special in Chicago and in our region. So thank you all for making this amazing program happen.